The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties.
Jim, when you're facing a team that has struggled like Michigan State has this season, does it make it any easier to get your players' attention based on recent results in this rivalry?
Yeah, no question. Yeah, they really, our guys really want to win this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really want to win it. And I have no doubt that if you pulsed every player and every coach on both sides, that they tell you the exact same thing.
All right, thanks everyone for being here today. We all know what this week is. It's not just another game for us. Our players understand that. Our staff understands that.
Now, I know what you're thinking. In 2009 to 2013 when I was there, did Michigan State dunk us? Yes, there's no question. And I'm not here to talk about when I was there. I'm here to talk about now. Michigan's number 2 defense in the country. I'm not here to talk about Georgia, who's number 1. Michigan, the boys in blue, are the number 2 defense in the country. Our offense, yeah, they say we're run heavy. They say we do that, but our pass game's really coming along. Overall, Michigan State is going to get donkeyed at home in East Lansing, whatever that podunk town is. They're going down. Michigan's going home, taking Paul Bunyan, and kindly, I'm not going to say the F word, but Michigan State. You know what I'm saying? Not going to say the F word, but Michigan State, okay?
Well. It is officially hate week here in East Lansing. The big game this weekend in the big house against the school down the road is upon us. This is Sparta. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Otis Wiley and Jehuu Caulcrick. Guys, everyone knows the seriousness and the emotions that go into this game. And you guys were even at a tailgate ceremony earlier this week. Talk a little bit about this game and what it means to you from your perspective as a player and also an alumni of Michigan State.
Yeah, I'll go first, Otis. It's a big game. It's a game where, you don't like those guys down the road. They don't like you. Everyone knows that. And when there's just a different feeling, coming into this week when it's when it's hate week, the start of it, it's an extra bounce in your step. The air smells different. The wind blows different. People act different. And you just got to embody that, embrace that, get ready to go. And, as a player, that's how it was. As a fan now, as a former player, it's still the same. I think the hatred grows even more once you're out of it and you just seen it because you have no control on what goes on the field. And you have idiots talking, you got that guy Braylon, he's doing a lot of talking. But the thing with him is, if you talk back or clap back to him, he's going to have his dad come on and, try to fight you. So you got to be careful. Daddy. Yeah, Braylon's going to call daddy to come, come, daddy, they're talking bad about me. Will you go and hang up on them? That's what he does. He's going to do all this. Taylor Lewan's going to do all the talking and everything like that. But you're seeing a lot of Spartans are just keeping the nose to the grindstone, getting ready to go.
Otis?
Yeah, man. Any Spartan or any player who's played and grew up here in the state of Michigan, I sometimes question my own self-hatred. I absolutely have a deep hatred. Like sometimes I'm like, is it that serious? No, it's serious. Like I honestly, you would have saw me at the tailgate today at the Skyline Club, and everyone's kind of getting their answer that's kind of clean, and I'm like, I'm already sweating. My blood's boiling. Like I threatened probably 3 people in the stands.
You're
Said,
telling people to go suit up.
Yeah, I'd say go suit up. You're talking all that cash, and it's one of those where this is for the people, the kids that are on the playground, and I don't know if kids still playing the playground, but growing up, all the stuff you got to deal with the house divided, and little brother comments, and I absolutely have a deep hatred. It says don't hate your enemy, but I do. I really do. And this, to Jay's point, this is a game that all other ones, like, I don't care about any other game. It's that one. It's that one. It's this one this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it, man. And hopefully I don't catch a case in that sense in the stands right this weekend.
No. We got to do everything. We got to be on the verge of a rage. We can't go overboard because we cannot afford to bail out any Spartans in Ann Arbor.
This is Sparta will be gone. It will be done. Bail me out.
We'll come get you, but let's just take it to the edge. Look over that edge, but don't go over. All right, don't dive over like some people have in the past. This Saturday is going to mark the 115th matchup between Michigan and Michigan State. Obviously, it's for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Right now, Paul has been at home for the last 2 years. Mel Tucker, the first coach in Michigan State history to go 2-0. His first 2 games, actually the first one to win the first one, and obviously the first guy coach to win 2 in a row. He's trying to be the first one to go 3-0 against the Wolverines as he goes into this Saturday's matchup. It'll be the 70th time the 2 teams play for the trophy. And as you gentlemen just talked about, we have a lot of things to break down, and right now we're going to go right in to our Sparta Inside Look presented to you by IHOP. The 2x2x2 breakfast combo equals 1 delicious meal. Enjoy 2 pancakes, 2 eggs your way, and 2 pieces of bacon for only $5, only at IHOP. Hurry in and enjoy this deal for a limited time. Dine in only. Price and participation may vary. Restrictions do apply. And guys, to help us break down this weekend's game and this matchup, a lot of people talk about take the records and throw them out, right? It doesn't matter what the records are right now. We've had a down year. They're undefeated. Does that matter? It doesn't matter. And who better to talk X's and O's with us than the one and only Todd? Don't call me TJ no more. Duckett.
What up?
What up? I got to say this before. One of my first introduction to this game, a kid from New York, so I'm not like you, and you lived it, you breathed it, born into it. Same thing with you, Duck. I watched that Michigan game back when you were playing, Duck, and one time, I think it was Cato June, tackled you, he fell, and he tried twisting your ankle, and you kicked him square in the face mask there. I was like, oh, it's real now. This is happening.
Yeah, it's that week, man. It's that week. And like what you were saying earlier, I think Otis said it, you don't really think about it throughout the year. It's just kind of goes, and I got family, I got friends who went to Michigan, whatever. But when all of a sudden the clock strikes midnight on Sunday, just hairs on the back of my neck stick up, and like to this day, it's just like, wow, I'm ready to go. I'm looking at people funny. I'm ready to go. It's game time.
Without question. Hey, so talk about your experience. You grew up in Kalamazoo, right?
Yes, sir.
On the west side of the state of Michigan. Your brother played at Michigan State. Tico, we know that as a great running back. Talk about growing up as a young child in Kalamazoo, and what did you remember? What was your first memory of this rivalry?
Well, my first memory was watching my brother, watching him play in this rivalry and not knowing the magnitude of it until that week. And you got neighbors talking trash, you got the mailman, you got everybody talking trash. And I'm like, is it really that big? And then I watched the game, And I remember the game that I remember is the 90 game when Tico actually scored the game-winning touchdown, and then Desmond dropped the ball in the end zone. So there was a lot of controversy, a lot of commotion, and that's when I realized that was a thing. And then over time, it was when I thought I was going to Michigan State, that was a game that every time it was on the schedule, you circled it. You did your best not to look ahead to it, but that was one that, it meant everything. And to be able to play that game and know that everybody in the state has a side. They're either a Michigan State fan or they like the other guys. So when it was my time to get here, I just wanted to have my name in it. I wanted to be able to leave a mark. I wanted to be able to actually have an impact in that game. In my freshman year, Billy Burke and Plexico got off, so I got a chance to see it. And then my sophomore year, we went down there, and it didn't turn out as well for us. And then my junior year, I had a rough one, man. My sophomore year, I went down. They had a goal line stance. I fumbled down there, and I had to sit with that in my soul for 365 days. And motivation is a monster. And I just knew when that time came, it was on. And the other beauty for me was my mother passed in March of my freshman year, and her birthday is November 1st. So that and the game were pretty much the same time. So in my mind, the Wolverines did it. That's how I won the game. Y'all did it. And now we got to pay the price for it.
Oh, wow.
Man,
it was all the way in.
Right. Well, let's get to the nitty gritty, because you have the shirts that I saw now on social with this 1 second left on the clock.
Oh, right? Plenty of time, baby. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. That's a whole quarter. That's a whole quarter, right?
I'm slack, baby.
Man, talk about that week leading up to that game, right? In Spartan Stadium. Like, what was the buzz? Because right now, our guys have been preparing for this game, but let the outsiders, Spartan Nation, know what was happening leading up to that week, and then to end on that prize moment of that game-winning touchdown. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was a special week. We were struggling a little bit that year. We didn't really start the year out like we wanted to. And then Wisconsin game, the game before that, Tyrell Dortch, he broke his ankle. Right. And that kind of gelled us together. And we started to play some good football. And then when that week hit, we had a little more confidence. And everybody was moving a little bit different in practice. Coaches were a little bit louder. Players were moving a little bit faster. And that you got one time to make a play. You got one time to have that game, and then you get 5-6 days to work on it. So everybody, we were eating it, we were breathing it. It was that time. And then when the game came, the locker room, it was a look in our eyes. You could see that we were prepared. We were ready. Mentally, our mind was there. Because football is all about your mind and your will. Everybody lifts, everybody runs. But when you get your mind right and you are focused and determined to make plays and to win, you give yourself a real opportunity. And they were doing great. I think they were 5th or 6th in the country at the time when they came into East Lansing. And we were ready for them. We were ready, and we knew we could play. And started to make some plays. And for me personally, like I said, this game always and will forever be personal to me. So going into this game that week, there's nothing. It's like a war. You may come out alive, you may come out wounded, but we're gonna come out of that mug on top. That's what my mentality.
So, Duck, since this is the real insiders show, the real dogs are sitting like we're in the barbershop here. So from the outside looking in, when people saw that game and that last play, a lot of people remember 1 second, the catch, and everything. But let's take an inside deep dive. What was the mood in the huddle with 1 second left? And what was the play call? What was the play call?
Man, it was so calm and so cool in the huddle. And like 2 plays before that, we actually ran in the same play. I don't remember the name, but I know it was an empty backfield. Me and Chuck were on, Charles Rogers were on one side, and I ran a slant. And I caught the ball, got the first down, moved the chains. And then the next play, Jeff Smoker had the ball. And you know, one thing that people don't really talk about that's amazing was Smoker's awareness. His awareness to get everybody on the line of scrimmage and to down the ball. He wasn't panicking. He knew the situation. He knew the down. He knew everything. And to get everybody in line and to be able to down the football to give us a chance to make that play. And then when that play came, I mean, we ran the same play. The slant was on the left that I caught. We ran the same play. I was on the right side. And you know, I mean, in my mind, it's going to the best receiver ever at Michigan State, Charles Rogers. It's going to him. And so I'm running my slant, and I see the ball in the air, and you know, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful I was able to catch it. Ideally, I'm like, give me the ball, let's run a power, and let's go a mano, let's go. And they wasn't gonna stop me that play. But you know, you get to your goals differently sometimes.
Right. I mean, talk about that. I mean, that ball was in the air, you know, for the fan, the casual fan looking at it. It looked like it was in the air for about 2-3 hours, man. It was you know, a lot of guys you see in that moment fumble that boy, especially in a moment that big. They piss down their leg and they don't make it happen, right? But you somehow it just seemed like it was like a, you know,
Yeah, he was like,
I'm cool, man. I'm cool, calm and collective. You know what I'm saying? No, but that's the moment you practice since you're like a 5-year-old. You're playing the game. You're in your backyard. You're 3, 2, 1, and you catching the ball. You jumping in your couch catching. Like those are things that you just play around and you practice with. And then I remember after the play was called, I go and line up in my spot, and I'm like, it's 1 second on the clock. It's 4th quarter. We playing these guys. Wow, we here. There's a chance I might actually get a chance to catch the ball. And I do my thing, run the route, Smoke running around, and then I see the ball in the air. And I'm like, is it coming to me? I mean, like, is this coming to me? And the closer it got, and it took forever, man. You know, you said 2-3 hours. I mean, the ball is sitting there. There's a player in front of me. There's people around, but the crowd goes silent. And I just look at that ball, man, and I was just cradling it like, come on. And, you know, yes, thankfully I caught it because it would be a different conversation if I did it. So,
absolutely. I don't think this got to be a history like two brothers on the same team having 2 winning game and like touchdowns to beating that team down the road. Like Tico did it with a run.
Yeah,
I feel like it's never been done. But like, I mean, about like,
be a record.
Yeah, that's got to be like that's a fact. Like that's one of those known fact Spark history boys there, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tico. I mean, that's my guy, man. What he's 3rd all-time leading rusher at Michigan State, and to be able to have watched him, to be able to watch a guy like that, and he's your family member, that makes greatness possible. And I'm looking at, but I also see everything that he did, all the work, all the time, the effort, the things that people don't see behind the scenes. I saw that happening. And so in my mind, if I'm able to do that same work, do I get a chance to have the same opportunity? And again, like you think sometimes yes, I was God-given blessed, yes. And you think things are given to you, but you go and earn these things in the darkness. You go and earn them. You work. And then all of a sudden that work, it shows. It's when you get the opportunity, when preparation meets opportunity, you shine. And that's what it was, man. And, you know, I'm so thankful for not just Tico, but my mom and my dad for instilling the work ethic of what it means to be a success and the grind and the day-to-day commitment to yourself and believing in yourself. I mean, that's huge for me.
Yeah, man, that's you know, really, really good, really powerful stuff. So moving to this game, and you know, we talked about, you know, Tico's win and run. It's about you catching the ball for it. This rivalry is really, the tone has been set by the running backs. Yeah. You know, in this rivalry. It's like whoever rushes for the most yards tend to win the game.
Yeah.
So with those guys down the road, they have a very talented running back. We're going by running back by committee here right now. So what do you think is going to take on Michigan State side, to win this game on Saturday?
In my opinion, this game, again, X's and O's are very, very important. Players being healthy is very, very important. Understanding your assignment, but it's the will. Football, especially running the ball. We are going to run the ball right here. Can you stop it? Can you stop it? And if you aren't able to stop it, you're going to be in trouble. So both sides are seeing whose will is stronger. Who's ready for this? Who does it mean more to? And again, records are out the window. Whatever you did last week is out the window. So in this moment, who does it mean more to? It's 1st and 10. It's 3rd and 1. Who does it mean more to? Is the offensive line and the defensive line, who's going to win at that point? When you're a running back and you have the ball and there's a linebacker in the hole, who's going to win? Who wants it more? And that's what this game is all about. And that's the difference, is getting caught up in that emotion and actually utilizing that emotion to your strength and really punishing whoever's in front of you. That's the game of football. This comes down, in my mind, has always been in the will, your mind, your will. My sophomore year when we were in Ann Arbor, I don't know if my mind was already there. I don't know. That was my first time being a starting running back in this game. And it's different. It's different. But after going through it and understanding what it meant and what it took in that role that I had being the starter, my junior year in 2001, I knew what it meant going in there. And I knew where we were at as a team, but ultimately where was our mindset? And who was going to have the stronger mind? And all this talking that we do the whole week, it's fun, especially not playing, because they ain't got to hit me no more. So I don't care. But going into that game, are you mentally prepared to go to war with your neighbor?
So I want to follow up to that one. I'm sorry, guys. I'm stealing a lot of the questions here, but this is, great comment. But so you talked about your sophomore year, your mind. You don't know if it was there or not, but you had lived it through your brother playing it. You had lived it, your freshman year. You watched the win. Then your sophomore year, you don't know if it was there. So with the Michigan State team now, a lot of transfer guys that are in who have not been a part of this. All they've done was hear about this.
Yeah.
We got two guys in the backfield who, never been a part of this rivalry, this Michigan State rivalry. They've never been a part of it. We got some old line. We got some other guys. What do you say to them to get their minds into it?
Two things. Now in this new transfer portal, they got a lot of guys that haven't been in this rivalry either. Yeah. So it's not just us. So then it comes down to, what does it mean to be a Spartan dog? Like, what does it mean for you, for your family, for your teammates to be a part of Michigan State's football team? That's what you play for. And that's what that should be what you play for every day, every time you step on the field. Yeah, it's great to have, play the other guys down the road and have that extra juice. But when you are out there and you're representing not only the name on the front of your jersey, but the name on the back of your jersey, that's what matters. So every time you get running the Michigan State running backs, when that number is called, you representing yourself. You represent us Spartan dogs. Now, the first time one of them guys hit you in the mouth, you're like, oh, so you out here playing. That should make you mad. Like I'm upset now that you hit me, and now I'm not representing my team. I'm representing myself, but I really don't like you guys either now. So now I'm a part of the rivalry, and let me see if I can go make some plays.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk a lot about running backs, and I mean, you two, obviously you, TJ, and Jehuu both being in the backfield at Michigan State and having great careers going on to the NFL. You look at the other side, you look at those guys down the road, and they have two running backs in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards that are going to, 2 weeks ago when they played Penn State, they combined for over 400 yards on the ground, running the ball. Now, what it seems, you hear the comments, the pregame comments of both Jim Harbaugh and Mel Tucker, and they're both talking about gang tackling, bringing population to the ball carriers and all that. So it looks like there's going to be a high emphasis because they all know, everybody knows about taking the run away, whoever wins that running battle. However, TJ, you've had the pleasure of playing with not only a Spartan great in Plexico Burris in his prime time. I think he had 255 yards against Michigan your freshman year. And then you also had the distinct pleasure of playing with probably the all-time greatest Spartan, that receiver of all time, in Charles Rogers.
Yeah.
You look at this game, and if things get canceled out on the running side of the ball, right, the running game, it's about that passing game, right? You guys are going to open up the passing. That's what we're talking about. Peyton Thorne, is he going to be able to do what he needs to do down the field with a Jaden Reed, a Keon Coleman, a Trey Mosley versus a J.J. McCarthy, who hasn't really thrown it down the field as much? What do you think? What do you see playing out in this game?
You know, I'm gonna tell you, you know, Plex, amazing player, Chuck, amazing player, great receivers, but what isn't, I guess, not really mentioned a whole lot, especially in this week and things, is how tough they are. I mean, there were some tough Plex, and I think it was David Terrell. He played him at corner. You remember what Plex did to him? Mm-hmm. I mean, this again. Yeah, we go and catch the ball, but these were the toughest receivers, and they knew what time it was. So they are out here making blocks. I mean, they are out toughing. I mean, that's what it's about. Like, yeah, they can go and make plays, but who is going to be from a receiver standpoint, who's going to set the tone? Who's going to go out here and say, I am a receiver, whatever, but I'm blocking, I'm downfield, I'm making plays, not just when the ball's coming to me, but away from the ball. And I think that's going to be the difference. We're going to see who got the toughest receivers. I mean, that's what this game is a fist fight, man. It's not a pretty boy game, this one. It's a straight fist fight. And even when Chuck was playing, I mean, they're quadruple teaming Chuck. He making plays. Like, that's not normal. I mean, it's about who's tough. And then when you get the opportunity to make a play, you stay focused, you stay calm, you stay cool, and you play the game of football. But you channel that emotion. Again, it's about being tough. I don't care who ran for 400 yards last week. That don't help you this week. I don't care what you did 5 years ago. I don't even care what you do next week. That ain't gonna help you today or Saturday when they walk into the stadium. Who is making I am going to be the toughest player on the field today.
So speaking of these tough receivers, you know, someone's got to get them the ball, right, Stray?
Somebody does.
So why don't we bring in, expert on throwing the football around?
My quarterback,
Billy Bear.
What's up, guys?
Billy Bear.
I think we almost got enough to put together a team here. Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3. Let's just go out there and suit up.
Got the Brady bunch going on. Like, how are you doing down there? What's up?
I'm doing well, guys. Good to see you.
You too, man. You too.
Oh man, Bill Burke joins us. Bill, let's just jump right into it. I mean, you had a pretty decent day against these guys down the road. When you played your senior year, you had a young TJ Duckett who's right on hand, and then you also had Plexico. There was 255, I think, receiving. Did you have 400 on the day?
Yeah, those were some record numbers all the way around, and it was a lot of fun. And I think I have such fond memories of that game. We talk a lot about it, over the years, and it's hard to believe it's been so long, but. We had such good balance on offense. You talk about Plexico, and he's a little bit of a unicorn. He was 6'6", 230, and was fast and long. And as you guys have talked about, really dominated that game in '99. But then we've got, a guy like TJ, who is also, kind of one of a kind in his own right on the ground. And as a freshman, TJ played so well, and we ran the ball overall as an offense so well that day. It was just it was just a memorable game all the way around, and there's so many different components and elements to why that game was so special, not just in Spartan history, but for me personally. I mean, you had the crowd, which I never have experienced a crowd like that in Spartan Stadium. It was just absolutely electric. And we haven't even discussed yet really the defensive side of the ball, guys like Robert Smith and Eric Morris and that linebacking core. I mean, Julian Peterson, who was a first-round draft pick. I mean, that was a great day to be a Spartan dog, and it was certainly a great day to be a Spartan fan as well.
Bill, we were talking about the huddle, man, and we like to bring in a little insider of let Spartan Nation know what's going on in the huddle. And with that crazy amount of noise, we're going into the big house, and which, by the way, I don't think is that loud compared to other places.
I'm with you on that.
Right. But I guess talk to us about being the quarterback and kind of commanding that huddle when all the craziness is around. You got to keep everybody composed. Obviously for that game, you were putting up numbers. You guys were dogging that defense out, but what was going on in the huddle as you're getting the calls and you're calling in and you're talking to the offensive linemen and getting people in their right position? But talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think it's important as a quarterback, there's a delicate balance there. You don't want to just go silent and say nothing, but you've got to just, pick and choose sometimes to, maybe just give everybody a fist bump or say, hey guys, this is an important down right here. We've got 3rd and 4. Let's get this, it's going to, push us into the red zone or whatever it is. I mean, you got to kind of make everybody just aware of the situation, because you tend to kind of lose sense of, those small little details out there, when you're just focused on your own assignment and you've got, 75,000 people screaming around you. And, it's tough to kind of occupy all sorts of different things at once inside your mind. So as a quarterback, you got to be, not just thinking about what you got to do, but you got to be thinking about what everybody else has to do, what they're feeling. You got to try and read the body language of some of the guys in the huddle. But fortunately, in a game like that, you don't have to do a lot of motivation. Guys they're ready from the beginning, and they've been there before too. And it's kind of comforting to see some of the guys, who are veterans who have been in those big games before, and just how calm they were in those situations as well. Because then as a quarterback, you don't have to do as much, emotional regulation for the other guys. But we rolled with a great group that year. I think, coming to 99 at home in the game that we beat Michigan from the previous year, just overall, where we were a little more inconsistent. I think as a team, our record certainly didn't end up the way we would have wanted it at the end of the year. And we were really searching for, I think, our identity as a team, and certainly offensively. So 99, when the number 3 Wolverines rolled into town, we were more than ready. And, we felt, I think, from early on in that game that was just going to be our day. We weren't going to walk off the field without a win. And, it was just good. It was great for me to be in the middle of it, but still kind of be a fan of my teammates. I had a lot of fun standing on the sideline, watching those defensive guys just harass guys like Tom Brady and Drew Henson and get big sacks and bring the crowd to their feet. I mean, it was really amazing to see all the great plays that were made by so many different players on that day, including TJ as a freshman who, got hit. I think he got us our first touchdown on that day. And that just started the momentum and kept us rolling. And even though the Wolverines, made a valiant comeback towards the end of the game, we were just too much for them on that day. And like I said, there's no way we were going to be denied.
Yeah, so TJ, so I'm going to ask both of you this, but Bill, for you, what was the the toughest environment in college that you played in?
Oh, wow. I would probably say, I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching some games with my son, and I would have to go with Happy Valley at Penn State. I don't know, what is it, 109,000 people, but those fans really are, they're in it from the start to the finish. At least they were, when I played there. I don't know whether it's the way that the stadium is set up or whether it's just the energy of each individual fan, but it doesn't hurt when you're playing against guys like, as Stray, Courtney Brown, LeVar Arrington. That was one of the, I think, top 2 toughest defenses I ever played against. So when you combine that in an environment like Beaver Stadium, I would say that's the toughest road test that I ever went up against.
Okay. TJ?
Yeah, that's another great question, man. I mean, you know, there's a couple of them. I mean, Happy Valley's definitely tough. We went down there and Joe Paterno and the crew, they started playing that dang lion, and they started having that lion roaring. That. And then we went to Wisconsin, and you got run, dang, and then that jump around is crazy. I mean, you go to Purdue, and they got that big old drum. They keep, for whatever reason, I was just in my ear the whole game. So I mean, I think that's what makes the Big Ten special. Is wherever you go, no matter if it's a rivalry or not, if you're playing a team out of the Big Ten, it's going to be tough wherever you go. I mean, Iowa, I mean, everywhere is hard. I mean, that's what, again, makes the Big Ten what it is for me.
Yeah, man, I guess what, like, this is, we already know, like, I wake up, we talked about midnight, and right when it strikes 12:01, like, I'm ready to go. Like, let's go, right? So let's talk about your households, man. Like, are your kids and your families that you're growing up, you're raising Spartans, right? But, like, are they as invested as we are? Like, talk about that.
Well, for me, you know, this goes back to, you talk about, you know, you roam around the state of Michigan, and you've got Michigan fans sprinkled around everywhere, and, you know, houses are divided and all that stuff. But, you know, definitely there's a difference between people who are Spartan fans, but, you know, they don't necessarily despise Michigan. They can tolerate them in certain circumstances. Or maybe you hear people say, well, I pull for Michigan or the Michigan teams in general when they're not playing the Spartans and things like that. We don't operate that way here as in my household. And certainly my 2 kids are even more so adamant and hardlined when it comes to Michigan than I am even. So I don't know if I overtly taught them that or you know, impose that on them. I'm sure I did, but there's no straddling the line, not even close in my household. They know that we bleed green and white, and anything that's blue and yellow, it's out the door. So they're going to be more ready than I am.
I'm the same way. We the same exact way. I tell my kids, don't even put them colored Legos together. I don't like Legos together. Like, it's all like, you can't wear that outfit either. Nope, that outfit don't work. So all the way.
Man, I can't even write with a blue pen. Like, they tried to give me a blue pen to write my signature today. I was like, where's that green pen at?
Yeah. I totally agree with you guys there. And I think we all feel the same way here. I can't stand those people that say, oh, well, if Michigan's playing in a bowl game, then they're in the Big Ten, I'm going to root for them. No, I don't want them to win. If the Big Ten's going to be the powerhouse, if Michigan wins this game, I don't care. We don't have to be the powerhouse then, you know. And it's the same thing. You guys, my daughter's a little too young to understand it, but I have that battle with my wife. My wife's from Canada, so she doesn't, you know the true rivalry and stuff. Like, one time we went we're getting a gift for someone, and she had a bag, and she got blue and yellow and blue stuffing paper for. I was like, that's not gonna work. We got to get something. She's like, it doesn't match. I was like, I don't care, but we're not doing this.
There's no gray area.
No,
Right.
no gray areas, man.
I mean,
go ahead.
So we all know we've been struggling, right, from this season, but it doesn't matter with this week. It doesn't matter if we were defeated and we didn't have any wins on the column, or, you know, talk about what is it going to take for them to go down there and experience what we've experienced? And, you know, they're always highly touted. They're always ranked. They're always the favorite, or we're the underdog. But, like, go into that locker room, talk to them about what is it going to take to truly win this game from you guys' perspective as your experience. But, like, you're the coach. You're male right now. What are you telling these guys daily?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I would say, first of all, we got to have fun. Bottom line, this game is about fun. And in this particular game here, as a Spartan dog and Michigan State player, we have no pressure. There's no pressure on us, baby. We just need to go and have fun. Play the game you play. Do what you do. Have fun. There's no pressure at all. So go back in the time when you remember when you could actually enjoy the game. And yeah, it's been a rough year, but that's life too. Absolutely. Today is a day we have the opportunity to go into an opponent's home and quiet everybody up, shut everybody up, play a fun game that we all love, and get on the bus with Paul Bunyan. That's what I call it a day. But again, there's no pressure. There's no pressure. Just go and do what we just play. Have fun.
Bill?
Yeah, I'm with you. Same thing. I mean, you go down there, there's absolutely everybody outside of East Lansing has written Michigan State off in this particular game. And that, I think, is because they don't understand when players get together, they're in this situation, they're in this rivalry, they feel like everybody else has written them off. There's absolutely nothing else to do but to take on that challenge, have some fun playing the game. Because like TJ said, there's absolutely no pressure on you. Everybody expects you to lose anyway. Stray, you're familiar with that situation when we went down to Columbus in '98 and we're 28-point underdogs. It's the same thing. You can go in there and have some fun and let it all hang out without worrying about making mistakes. The team that's ranked higher, it's undefeated. They're in the conversation for the college football playoff and the Big Ten championship. They're the ones that have to ratchet up the pressure and keep winning in order to keep their status with all those other things. So, and it's fun. You're as a warrior, as a Spartan, you like the challenge of you against the world. You're hopping on a bus or a plane. You're going to the enemy's environment, their stadium. Everybody's going to be against you. That challenge, if you're a competitor, I think is fun. To walk out of there with a win, silence the 100,000 people, and show everybody that you could do the impossible.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a great point, Bill. And I'm going to ask you because we talked about it a little bit before you came on the show. And for me, in my opinion, I think that Michigan State actually matches up better with Michigan than a lot of other teams because the Achilles heel, as we all know from Michigan State, has been the defensive secondary and the ability to defend the pass. If there is a strength for Michigan State, it's the ability to stop the run. So it appears to me that Michigan's going to try to come in here and just run it down Michigan State's throat, just try to run it down our throat, with the running backs. But they're going to – I think that the counter would be just load the box, right? I mean, and force J.J. McCarthy to beat us. Now, as a quarterback, your eyes typically are going to go to what the quarterback's doing. You've watched Peyton Thorne, I'm sure, and maybe when you were, I don't know, in flipping through the channels, you happen to catch a glimpse maybe of J.J. McCarthy. He's the new heir apparent after Cade McNamara was benched after taking him to a Big Ten title and, college football playoffs. How do you assess those two quarterbacks and obviously J.J.'s ability to beat Michigan State with his arm, given what you've been able to see so far this year?
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet. I think he's got a lot of talent. He's a young guy, but when you're a young guy, you tend to not get to number 3, number 4 in your progression, and you don't tend to handle pressure all that well. Now, when you get to be a wily old veteran and you're a 5th-year senior and you've seen it all, and you're almost wanting or welcoming the blitz because you can take advantage of it. I don't think McCarthy's there yet. He might one day get there, but I think if Coach Tucker and Scotty Hazelton have a great plan on defense, combining, stacking that box, putting the emphasis on stopping the run, and then having some creativity in terms of rattling him, I think that'd be a great approach. And I agree with you. Then on the other side, you got Peyton Thorne, who's been there. He's had a great season last year. He's got some more experience. And I heard you guys talking earlier about what it's going to take to win the game. I think because each team is going to put an emphasis on the physical side of the game and running the football, I think it's going to come down to who can make, and maybe specifically which quarterback can make the most number of plays over, say, 15 or 20 yards. And I think the advantage, as you referenced, Stray, is Peyton Thorne in that regard, because I just don't think that McCarthy at this point, now he's done a great job doing what he's been asked to do. But again, I think he's still, I'll use the word green in terms of his experience. So I think that he's got a little ways to go there. So I think there is a weak spot that we can take advantage of on the defensive side. And if you're asking me, which team has the advantage in terms of the quarterback position, I think it's got to be Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, so sticking with that quarterback stuff, Peyton he struggled, to say the least, early in the season. But this past game against Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, I think that was his best all-around game of the season. He was starting to get that communication with his receivers and that timing with his receivers. Bill, you played the position. How important is it for that quarterback, wide receiver communication and timing standpoint?
Anytime one of the guys on your offensive side of the ball that is not in the lineup, it affects you. It really does. Whether it's your star number one receiver or whether it's your center. When my center used to go down, it changes everything. It puts that little thought in your head that do I trust the second guy? Is the snap going to be the same? In Jaden Reed's case, or a receiver's case, is he going to run that hook route exactly the way that I'm used to? Is he going to run it at 13 yards instead of 12 yards? You want to be able to trust the guys that you're going to battle with and that you've been working with. So it's huge when you get your top receiver back. And those guys have been together a long time, well before Michigan State. So to get him back, I think that really, you could see Peyton Thorne just kind of have a little better body language. You could see him just have a little more pep in his step because you can go to that guy when the pocket breaks down, when it's a crucial time in the game in the fourth quarter. That you don't have to be perfect because he's going to go up there and make a play. So I don't think that can be understated how important it is to have that type of connection and guys that you can trust, especially in big games.
Great job, man. I mean, guys, I guess we would be remiss if we didn't ask you guys, like, what do you see happening? Hey, look, we're just going to put it out there on the table right now. Saturday, here it is. It's Saturday night game in Ann Arbor. I'm sure, if you're not there, you're going to be well-oiled, ready to go, juiced up, right? Along with a lot of Spartan Nation and those guys down the road. How do you think this game comes out at the end of it? It's a 7:30 kickoff on ABC and Spartan Media Network, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be a beautiful day for Spartan Nation. I think we're going to go out there and we're going to start making some plays, and then that confidence is going to start to flow. I think the defense, I think they're going to step up big because they have been challenged a lot this year. And I think our running backs, are going to make this a coming out party. I feel good. I feel good about this game. And and it's a night game. To me, everything has been it's lining up to have Michigan State be a success this Saturday.
The freaks come out at night.
Well,
it's true. Are we going to put a number on it?
Well, 24-14, go green. But I don't think we haven't played a complete game yet. We have not had that game where offense, defense, special teams. We haven't had that yet. And I think struggling throughout the year, the beginning of the season, players were hurt, things weren't going well. That West Coast trip, a lot of things were just out of order. And then to have some guys come back, to be able to get a tough win under our belt, and then to be able to have a week to watch the film and heal up and actually tweak some things, and then for it to be the guys down the road who get to see us after this bye week. I think it's perfect. And at the same time, the guys down the road, there's a lot of pressure on them. Right. And if they think they're playing Michigan State that started the season, they're going to be in for a rude awakening because that's not who's going to be walking in to that stadium.
Well, I'll pose the same question to you, Bill.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that, the perception is that Michigan's 7-0, Michigan State is 3-4. And so because of that, there's this huge gap between the two schools, you know, and it looks that way maybe on paper, but I don't see it that way. I never have. I don't think when you're at this level, when you've got two very talented Big Ten rivals, I think the gap in the margin between the two, just in terms of potential, is razor thin, despite the records. And then we've talked, of course, a lot already about how when big rivals get together, you throw the records right out the door. And I think it's because of all the intangible, the things that you can't put on paper or measure on paper. So I think TJ alluded to it. You know, we haven't put together a game where we've lived up and almost or fully maxed out our potential. And I think given the bye week, I think getting healthy and just kind of having some time to process what's happened already this season puts us in a great position to go down there without any pressure, to put it all together, to put together a near complete game, make some big plays, and come out of there with the win. I think the timing is perfect. I don't think anybody expects Michigan State to go down there and pull out the win. But you got to look at kind of how the ebbs and flows of football teams happen. You know, Michigan has been just kind of rolling along ever since last year. They went to the college football playoff. They're undefeated this year. It's just kind of ho-hum week in and week out. Even when they get down a little bit early in their games, they tend to pull it out somehow and overtake the teams that they're playing. However, the teams that continue to consistently do that throughout the entire season and run the table, that's extremely difficult to do. Extremely difficult to do. So when you line them up against, you know, your in-state rival who's had a down year, who hasn't put together their complete game, who hasn't lived up to their potential yet, things really line up really well, I think, for Michigan State to not only go down there and compete and make it a game in the fourth quarter, but to actually make enough big plays to come out of there with a win. And they've got, it's not like the difference in talent or potential is drastically different. They've got all the tools, they've got all the resources to make that happen. And that's exactly what I see happening this particular week. And I would say the same thing if these situations, if we're talking about two completely different teams outside of Michigan and Michigan State, maybe two teams in the exact same situations from another conference, just, you know, based on watching football for 30 or 40 years, you know, it's just how these things go. So I'm feeling very positive about the result. You know, I'm looking, you know, visualizing further ahead Saturday night, and I think we all have smiles on our faces because Michigan State pulls out the win.
Let's go. Let's go.
Give Choo Choo the ball. Give Choo Choo the ball.
I'm going to say 31-30, maybe a last-second field goal, maybe something crazy, last-minute turnover and a big play. I think it's going to be one of the exciting ones that will go down in history forever, and we talk about 5 or 10 years from now.
High-scoring thriller. Like
special
that.
teams.
Special teams.
The special team stuff always gets crazy down in Ann Arbor when these two teams get together.
I'll tell you this. If Jaden Reed, if he takes a punt return back at the big house, because I feel like he's old one. He's old two, because that last one we had was a little skeptical when it came to the blocking from the side. But if he can return a punt, if we get these guys 3 and out, like, I think that's where it controls the game right there. And we talk about momentum as sudden change. Who wins the sudden change battle? This is being everybody been on the offense, so we got a bunch of offensive positions. So defensive guy is how do we manage the sudden change? Because we know it's going to happen. We know something's going to happen where it's got to be like, all right, we got to go out there, let's get the ball back. And then also, how do we control our emotions? Because emotions are going to be extremely high. And, you know, I feel like every time we play these guys, and our coaches have always prepared us to keep your composure, you know, play our football, play Spartan football. Don't let them get inside your head. And so I think that's what's going to be truly what can we control, but also let's not get 15-yard penalties. Let's not get personal fouls. Let's play some clean football, but let's play some smash mouth, hit them in the mouth football too.
Yeah, and that's a great point that Otis makes there. I think just like last year, staying the course the entire game, even though last year when we were down 16 points, we didn't flinch. You know, we just continue as Coach Tucker, you know, his mantra, keep chopping. We kept chopping. We stayed the course. And that's something that we're going to have to do because the entire game is not going to go in the Spartans' way. We're going to hit some adversity somewhere. And the thing is, whoever's the one that blinks first is going to be the one that loses. So don't blink, stay the course the entire time. And I think the Spartans will be victorious.
Coach D used to always talk about keep the lion in the cage until it's time to unleash the lion. And it's going to be tough, especially for us older Spartan dogs that are on this podcast right now. No, special thanks to both of you guys for coming on the show, TODD Duckett and Billy Burke.
Appreciate y'all.
Really appreciate you guys for showing
up. Just a fun fact. The nickname Choo Choo came from Duckett. He's the one that
Oh man, he can't stop doing it now, Todd. He always out here.
Because he was the diesel. Diesel. And then Coach Manny one time was like, "Oh, this is baby diesel." And then he's like, No. That's Choo Choo.
Give him the rock.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks, guys. Hey, looking forward. Are you guys going to come to the game? You coming to Ann Arbor? Or are you going to watch it? Where are you watching the game from?
My house.
My house. I'm not going to the.
I break out when I break out when I go in there.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about 20 times of like, should I go down? Like, I'm still thinking about, should I do it? Should I not? Like I said,
if we have to go, Otis, you're going.
Got work to do.
I don't want to catch a case, you know. I don't want to get fired.
Appreciate you guys for jumping on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you.
Go Green.
Go Wyatt.
All right, man. Hey, fun interview with two Spartan legends, huh? You know, TJ Duckett and Billy Burke, man. I mean, just two all-time greats.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I love about being a Spartan dog, man. Even when talking to Duckett there, and when you're a young guy coming in, and even when I was playing, Jason, you were doing the sideline and stuff like it was known that you were dog. You played there. Duck would come back. Bill Burke would be there, and all those guys. And it's just like you just get to know these guys. From when you first step on campus to now having relationships with them after you're done. That's what it really means to be a Spartan dog. And, really appreciate them coming on. It's, just great conversation. Like I said, it's just like boys in the barbershop.
Gotta love it. Yeah. Hey, final thoughts, Otis. I know we got to make sure that you don't catch a case. We got to call Washington, Michigan State Police.
Hey, I'm gonna have to go to church. I'm gonna have to go to the altar. Like, Lord, please forgive me.
Please, Lord.
Well, I don't even know what I'm about to do.
Oh man.
You already know. Like this week, all the trash talk and all the kind of banter going back and forth. It all matters what happens on that field, right? And so. We all played it. We all wore the green and white, and we all are living vicariously through our guys that are going to compete. But we know what they're going through, and so I think that's where we're more invested, knowing that we're going to be watching from afar or watching on the sideline or in the stands. And I think it's just true. Like to TJ or Todd's point, let's play free, man, and let's have some fun. And let's have some fun beating the school down the road. Like that's no more better feeling than to where you come back from that drive in 2008, coming back from that drive on that road and landing into East Lansing, and you got your people, your students, the fans waiting for you to celebrate, man. And that's what it's all about. And so I want these guys to feel that. We had it at home and we felt that, but it's truly a difference maker when you go down in that monumental stadium that they have there and you beat them on their own turf, and you get to go take back home the Paul Bunyan Trophy, sitting right in the front next to Coach D. Like there's nothing better, man. And so I pray for these guys to be out there, truly play free and not get inside their heads and have a great time. And yeah, we'll let the chips fall where they may, but they're going to be falling on that green side heavily.
Without question, Jehuu.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just like Otis, hit it on the head. I'm a guy that, never had the opportunity to, take that bus ride back with a victory or leave our stadium in East Lansing with a victory. I'm a guy that suffered many heartbreaks in that game. And that's why it's so important, when Duck was talking about that final catch. I go back to when I first got on campus, talking to guys going into this week, talking about what the emotions were like, what the feelings were like. So it's something that I never got to experience. I'm glad, Otis had the opportunity to experience it, the very next year after I left. And I want the same thing for these guys. I want it for Spartan Nation. Spartan Nation, greatest fan base, in the country. Players, play your asses off and let's just get ready to go. Let's get ready to ride.
Legendary Spartan great Sherman Lewis finished third in the Heisman Trophy back in 1963.
Man, where's Coach Lewis at, man?
Coach, 4 Super Bowl rings, by the way.
Yeah.
He always talks about the best bus ride home he's ever had. And all the teams he's coached and played for was that ride from Ann Arbor back to East Lansing after beating that school down the road, guys. Hey, great show by all today. Special thanks again goes out to Bill Burke and TJ TODD Duckett, the Duckett brothers. We're going to do a little plug for you guys. Also, a special thanks obviously for IHOP and the Graduate Hotels and everybody who makes this show so special. And for Otis Wiley, for Otis Wiley and Jehuu Caulcrick, I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Sparta. Have a good night. God bless. And go green.
Go white.